Hey friends, this is a dog done in oil. So it's made with Geneva oil paints, and it's a Mark Carter product. And if you don't know him, he's painted 2 presidents and I think a Secretary of State. And his method is unusual, I guess. It's if you've done other types of oil painting where you're like layering and things like that. His method is more of a mix the color and get it correct and then put the color down. So he doesn't go back and redo an object 7-8 different times. And that's one of the problems that I had when I first started. Was I watched a video where I had this person was doing a still life of roses in a vase. Anyway, they kept doing this one leaf over and over and over. I think it was like 11 times they completely redid the leaf. And I'm thinking, why can't you just get it right and move on? So that's pretty much why I like Mark Carter's method, because he gets it right the first time and then he moves on. So sorry about the focus squares. I did not know how to turn those off, but I do now. So after this, we're going to do a horse as well. So anyway, so Geneva paint, it's a runny paint, has a consistency of honey, and it is, it looks just like every other paint, but it's slow drying, so your browns and your blues will dry the same rate as your whites and your blacks, etc., and it's slow, so it'll take a week. So they get 7 to 10 days. 7 days is like a winter, colder time, and then 10 days is a winter, colder time, and 7 days or less is like a summertime drying speed. Anyway, so you can see here I have the paint on the palette, and I'm just mixing the paint until I get exactly the color that matches the picture. And so I have a photo reference that I went and printed out. And what he does, and what I'm trying to do here, is to touch the paint onto the photo reference and make sure it's exactly the same value and it's exactly the same color. So that has a lot of advantages, because when you put it down, you get it right the first time. So it looks a little off in the video, but in reality it is dead on. So this is a dog. I have no idea what the dog's name is. I get a lot of people that just send me pictures of their pet, and so I'll ask them, hey, that picture of your pet that you sent me a long time ago or whatever, can I use that? And just do a quick test painting with it. So that's sort of what we have here. So this is wet and wet. So obviously 7 to 10 days the dog is still wet. And what I'm doing is just coming back with a darker color. And it's not exactly like the photo reference. I couldn't get that red that I wanted, so I sort of shifted it a little more neutral in tone, and then just tried to nail the values. So his method, the first thing you do is you get down the darks and the blacks. So that's what you have there. And then I base coated it with the color that was on the photo reference. And now I'm coming back with the details. So it's sort of a loose, fun painting. I wasn't going for photorealism here. I was just going for something loose and fun. And you could see that as well in the when I do the whiskers and things like that. Wet on wet with a whisker that small was really challenging. So it didn't look exactly like I wanted it, but it does turn out in the end. I think it looks pretty good. So here we're going with the details in the eyes. So the eyes did not have as many colors as I thought they did. And for the white in the eyes, I just let the canvas show through. And since this was just an experiment, I think this is the last time I'm doing painting on a white canvas, because the problem that you have with the white canvas is if you leave any area, it doesn't have thick enough paint, or you leave a little paint gap in the paint, then it looks really white and it catches your eye and it's a pain. So fortunately, since this is just a little experiment with the Mark Carter method, I did not go into a lot of preparation for the canvas. Normally I would stain the canvas like a neutral brown, and then I would go back and make sure that it's fairly even and all that other stuff. And I do that a little bit more in the next painting, which is a horse. So the painting after this coming up in the next video that I upload, I do a horse, and that is photorealistic. So I wanted to go from this, playing around painting to something more serious and photorealistic. But the dog does look pretty good, considering. So just playing around with it. So here I'm going down with the eyes and whatnot. So this takes a lot of time. That's a fortunate thing about the Mark Carter method. You spend a lot of time mixing colors. So since you're trying to nail the exact color, if you don't know how to do that already, in other words, you just started like me, then you sit there on the palette for quite some time trying to get the right color. And that's what you see here, as well as in his videos. He does not use that little paint. He uses quite a bit of paint. And so you'll see his videos, he'll dump what looks like a quarter of the tube out. And I did not want to do that, especially considering it's just a play painting. And I'm glad I didn't, because I think the thin underlayer here helped me out when I came back with the details. And this is not exactly the Mark Carter method, and I do that more in the horse painting coming up. But again, I just wanted to break out the paints, and I wanted to try out, his match of value, match of color, and put it down method. But you can tell I'm still hanging on to my old habits here of, I'm going to do the base coats and then let it dry. Or I'm going to do the base coats, and I'm going to come over the base coats with something else and all this other stuff. So you can tell I'm hanging on to my old habits a bit too much. So time to get rid of those in the next one. So here I'm just coming in with the darker colors. And I'm using sort of a smallish brush, as well as I don't have the brushes that he has. My brushes are a little different. So I know he has a minimum of 5 small brushes, I think number 2, and then a minimum of 5 medium brushes, which are I think number 5, and he uses he uses some brand, I think Winsor Newton brand, of oil painting brushes. And he does that because he wants to maintain the darks. His point is, if you have a pure black or you have a super dark color, the minute you touch it to white or the minute you touch it to anything else, it ruins that beautiful dark color. And so what he'll do is have a dedicated brush for just blacks, and then have a dedicated brush for almost black, and then obviously a dedicated one for white, and then some for the mid-tones. And I think that's a good way to do it, and I wish I had that available to me, but I don't have that. I don't have enough brushes of those sizes to do that. So here I am hanging on to my old ways and sort of getting this scratchy look in the dog instead of the smooth look that it should have. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. It's not like just absolutely revolting. I mean, if you look at the reference, which is on the left, and then you look at my painting, I do keep a lot of similarities between the two. So I think it's pretty good. But again, going with the strict Mark Carter method would be much more preferred, but I guess I just didn't have it in me to do it on this particular painting. But again, it's just messing around. So here we have going in with the sort of the darker tones here with the browns. So it's a little too much of a line, and there's no smooth areas, and so it does look really scratchy, but that's just the way it goes. So that's pretty much what I'm doing here, and finish the dog here in a few minutes, and then we'll move on to the background. And on the background, I did a lot of mixing, trying to get that concrete look to it. And so that was sort of painful, but I think I got it pretty close. And we'll go over that in just a few minutes after we finish the dog. But I'm going to switch to music now, since you pretty much have, what I was doing, what I was shooting for, my mistakes along the way, and things like that. So yeah, since you zoom in, you can see it's really scratchy. And this is because there's too many lines. It's not smooth. I don't have, like when I do it in pastel, I have the dots and the dashes, and I don't have that here. And you can really tell when it's only dashes and there's no dots that it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look realistic. So, and the more zoomed in it is, the more so you can tell. Anyway, so we'll switch to music, and I hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next painting, which will be a photorealistic horse. So see you there, and enjoy the rest of this demo.